I've evolved.
All right, bismillah. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mamluks. My name is Sim. Along with me are my co-hosts Mort
Assalamu alaikum.
and Sheikh Amer.
Assalamu alaikum.
Where'd you go, Sheikh Amer? One day I'll figure this out. There you are. Okay. Welcome to the show, everyone. It's been a long time, Sheikh. Please remove these nuts. It's
Pistachios are amazing.
pistachios.
Bro. They're addictive, bro.
It's No Nut November, so keep that in mind. You haven't been
Initiated.
behaving. Let's just say. This pistachios, Sheikh loves to munch on.
Anyways,
Here
what's
we
going
go,
on,
Sheikh.
y'all?
Have fun. Sheikh, a lot has happened since you've last appeared on the show.
When was that last year?
Oh, it's been a few weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Anyway, the Shabab started the cigar habit. You know, our relationship is like, I'm like Harun and you're like Musa. When you leave, the Shababis, they start misbehaving. They start building a golden calf.
I think I'm
All
like,
kinds of different
I
things
think I'm like
happen.
Samari.
And when you come back, you get very upset with me about what happened.
No, bro. I can have something with you.
So in honor of that relationship, I think Amr should pull your beard.
The Portillos.
What beard, bro? You know, many
The
of the
little
Shabab,
one down, because you know when
the British Shabab don't agree with this beard. They don't count this as a
but
beard.
you know when Musa alayhi salam saw that what Samari was doing, all the things, he got mad at Musa for Harun for not stopping him, so he pulled his beard. So I think you should pull his beard.
It's all right, dude. Let's not use that as an
He's a little
example. It's
tough,
trying to
bro.
make me cringe, bro.
A little
But,
tug.
One thing that I think the story that intrigues me the most about you and Mort is the Portillo's days.
What about it?
How you told me that there was a time when I was in Egypt, you guys used to eat Portillo's every day or something. Was that you and Mort?
Oh, that was what my other friend, Morton.
Oh, okay. Yeah, every day, huh?
Well, we ate it.
For those of you that don't know, Portillo's is a spot here local to the Chicagoland area that is amazing beef and cheddar croissant, but it's not something you eat every
Why is he
day.
bringing up Portillo?
I don't know.
I don't understand.
I don't
like,
see the relevance.
Sheikh,
but
like,
are
when
you trying to?
when you
Let's
feel,
change the subject.
No, are you trying to
you have the weirdest. Why do you
Changing
do
of
this?
subjects.
Like you're
He must have been thinking about something. What were you thinking about? When
No,
you
he
mentioned that?
felt awkward because we were talking about Harun and Musa, and he wanted to change the subject
I just
to
changed the
Portillo's.
Oh, really?
That's that.
Like,
Hey, it happened. It
do
worked.
you think the NBA would like Portillo's, Sheikh?
Anyways, what?
Do you think that we could,
We were talking because that would be a more meaningful transition, you know?
or like, Sheikh, can me and Sim use your wonderful contact in the Middle East to maybe export a halal Portillo's chain to like Dubai, and we can all become rich? Like that would be a better, transition.
I'll consider that next time.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's almost like
He's rusty. It's been a couple weeks.
it's like a Mr. Bean moment. You know, this awkward transition.
I love Mr. Bean.
People get confused. Folks, if you're just joining us, help us out on patreon.com//the Mad Mamluks. Also, make sure you click on the old like button. Just get out of the way right now. Just click on like. It helps out the old algorithm, and we really appreciate it. It makes us very happy.
Good idea.
Yeah, it's,
Wow,
good.
wow,
It's okay to make us happy, you know?
Make your brothers happy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay to make the patriarchy happy every once in a while.
Oh, here we go.
And what else? We got the StreamYard link for those of you guys just tuning in. Check out the TMM chat, and you guys can happily jump on. We can't keep you on the entire episode unless it really needs that. But we'll give you a few minutes to get your point across. If you're bumbling and fumbling, you got a bad internet connection, we're going to have to move on and cut you out because it just ruins the experience of the show. It's nothing personal, and we hope you forgive us.
Yeah, man,
inshallah.
bring some nice things to the table.
All right.
If you don't forgive us, we'll have Sheikh Ahmed do dua against you.
There it is. It's in the YouTube chat. Shabab, a lot has happened over the past couple of weeks. Halloween has been going on
for the past month.
I like what shababs, like at the meeting room, like it's emergency meeting shababs.
well, so the kingdom, not the Haramain, but the Holy Land, you know, the regions that are surrounding Mecca and Medina, the country known as Saudi Arabia, the implementer of Sharia, King MBS, first of his name, second of his
order, ruler of the realms,
protector of the realm,
protector of the seven realms,
protector of the. He's allowed Halloween now, you know, and many people are upset. What do you have to say about this, Sheikh? How do you aim to prevent this from happening again?
I don't think we can prevent anything. I think it's the inevitable. I think MBS wants it to happen. He wants it to be very welcoming to all people, not just the Muslims. He wants the backwardness of the Muzzies and the archaicness to leave. But I don't think we can prevent anything. I think this is the next new wave of Saudi Arabia for the next 10 years, man. And I mean, we're not going to be able to do anything about it. The Muslim world's not going to be able to do anything about it. It is what it is. You know, it's sad. Like, there's other countries, this and that, Turkey, you know, they've been doing all types of celebrations, but when Saudi and, you know, surrounding countries get involved with Diwali and, you know, Ganeshas and Halloween and Christmas and all that kind of stuff, then it just gets a little sad, you know.
So I kind of, before we, like, me and Sim were talking earlier about this thought we had, but before we get there, I think one thing to realize is, I know there's some memes going out there that, like, oh, Salafis say Mawlid is bid'ah, but then they allow Halloween. And I think I want to be fair to the argument, right?
that's a funny
argument. The true Salafis, though, like the ones that are really, not the ones that are like, I mean, the ones who are really on that, they're going to tell you both of these things are bad. They're not going to tell you that just one is okay and the other one's not, right? Obviously, we get the implication about the hypocrisy, and I agree with that. Another one, but I think it's this kind of hypocrisy has been happening even way before the Halloween.
Yeah.
For example, don't celebrate your birthday, but celebrate the birthday of a nation. It's strange, right? Like, you know, because the idea was that, what was the reason? We only have two Eidain, you know, this is the only holiday that we celebrate, etc., right? Well, if that's the case, fine, but be consistent in the argument. If you can tell someone that having a birthday party or celebrating your birthday is a bid'ah, then carry that on to the birth of the nation too. Don't make it a big deal. Everyone wants to get involved, and like, you know.
But that's not really a Salafi thing. It's a political thing, but people, if Saudi does something, they refer to it as a Salafi thing. It's not really.
But what I'm saying though, did anyone ask the ulama? Like, they come out and say, "Hey, this is a bit an innovation, surely, to do this, right?" I mean, like, you know, we only have one, two.
Can they say anything if?
What would they think about the birthday though? The birthday has nothing to do with worship. If you want to celebrate your child's birthday or your own birthday, I mean, what's the difference? I mean, in terms of understanding, what's the difference between they're both secular celebrations, right?
No, I'm saying the birth of a nation is more political, right? And they don't want to.
No, I understand that. I understand that, but I'm saying is that the fact that it's becoming a day of Eid for them. That was the whole objection in the first place. You're creating a tradition of Eid, or daily, yearly, you do this particular action on this specific day. Just like you would do for your birthday, which is why they said you shouldn't do it, right? This is one of the reasons. That, it wasn't the practice, that they never did this, right? And one could argue that the Sahabas never celebrated the day that Medina was, you know, where the Constitution was brought in, right? So I think the idea is that, I think the consistency argument is what really is at play here, right? If you're going to use the arguments, and I'm speaking about the ones that are okay with this and not okay with that, right? You have to maintain some level of consistency. Or otherwise, people just say, well, this is purely, you can't blame them for saying that you're just puppets of a government, right? Like, you can't fault them for saying that.
That makes more sense, yes, sir.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so, I mean, I think that's what it was. But anyways, well, aside from that, coming on to the actual subject matter about the Halloween thing, I think we were talking about this and we were saying that, so regardless of what people feel about it, we know that our beloved Sayyidi here, he takes the opinion of Sheikh Allama Yasir Qadhi, and that there's no problem because Halloween is no longer a pagan celebration.
Just love
it's
that
more
day.
of a cultural thing.
Satan worshippers love that day.
Whatever, maybe, yeah. So I don't want to argue about whether the permissibility of Halloween or not, right? Everyone knows what their views are. I think the root of the issue, though, is that regardless of whether it being permissible or not, what's the thought process behind wanting to bring that custom to a land that's foreign?
No,
Right?
let's backtrack. If there's nothing wrong with it, then they should be able to celebrate it.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying, though, but wanting to celebrate it is fine. What I'm saying, though, is that is there a desire to say that what we have culturally is not enough, and that what they have over there, since they're doing it and it's fun, we want to emulate that? Meaning that, do you ever find the Western world exporting your ideas or your cultural celebrations over to their country and implementing it, or why is it always one way?
Because America is the leader of the world, right? So being America, being the exporter of all kinds of media and music and every form of entertainment, the rest of the world is going to be looking at them. You think Americans are our main listeners in terms of our content that we create? No, it's most. If you compare Americans versus international, our international audience beats the American audience. So if you combine all of them, so what I'm saying is that no matter what you're exporting, at least when it comes to America, because Americans have the ability to, or the purchasing power to craft the most technical elements together and form entertainment for people, and they have that ability through various avenues, like, for example, smartphones, right? The best smartphones will always be available to Americans, but not just that, but through other media, other equipment related to the production of entertainment, right?
So I understand how it happens, right? What I'm saying is that the idea, like, there's a lot of things that get exported from America that they choose not to apply, right? It's not like everything that comes out of here automatically gets part of society, right? There's certain things that do and certain things that don't. So obviously there's a selection process here, and my I guess focus here is why that selection. Why specifically? Why would you want to bring in in Halloween and not bring in things like St. Patrick's Day, right? so my thing is that there's a certain element of, like, the fact that, oh, look, they're enjoying themselves, they're having so much fun, it's harmless, right? And that seems to be the way that a successful country has these kind of fun holidays. So we need to emulate that, because their lifestyle is better than ours.
Well, they want to be a little rebellious too. There's a rebellion element to it.
But I think it's more of an inferiority complex.
No, I think it's much more simpler than that. What you guys are failing to see is that which avenues is the rest of the world consuming anything that is American from? Which avenues? What's the most obvious one?
Social media.
Before that, before social media came.
TV. I mean,
movies, right?
Movies, right?
Oh,
yeah, media. Yeah.
How did the rest of the world start wearing jeans? No one in the world wore jeans. Before? Let's go rewind even before that. When the British colonialism started.
Khakis.
When did everyone start wearing suits and ties? Why did the Ottoman Sultan wear a suit and tie? Right. So the people who are the ruling societies of the world, who are the most willing to spread their hegemony across the world and their power and influence and the ability to demonstrate their prowess and their strength, people are going to want to emulate that. They want to associate themselves with that.
I get that, but I'm saying that there's a mindset. Look at the reverse. When the Ottoman Empire was dominant for a long time, instead of exporting thobes and fezzes, they imported suits and things like this, right? Because the wearing of suits was long before, like, the British. I mean, they changed their garments, right? I mean, they're trying to emulate something else, right? And you don't find them you don't find other countries when the Muslim world was dominant, people wearing thobes or turbans or whatever, even though that was a dominant force, right? The idea is that Muslims didn't do that. The idea is that, and so I think the reality is that at the core of it all, it's an inferiority complex. They see someone else superior and living better than them, and they attribute that living and success to their own like habits, like what they do. Oh, they dress this way. Like for example, the idea. Oh, if you want to be productive, dress a certain way. Wear a suit and tie and polished shoes, and you're gonna feel better about yourself and be productive at work. There's a certain thing, and that ties into this aspect of feeling inferior to something else.
Well, yeah, exactly. So you're going to see people wanting to associate with a winning team. They see someone succeeding. They're seeing them having fun, having power, having money, everything that they associate with success.
Yeah,
they're going to be wanting to associate themselves with that. They'll be like, hey, these people have figured it out. Look at their infrastructure, look at their buildings and their cars and their money and their women and everything that's being shoved down their throat through movies, television, and other entertainment avenues. They're going to be saying, well, these guys look like they have it good. I don't know what the old man at the madrasa is trying to teach me, but these people look like they're having fun, you know?
Yeah.
So,
but my thing was, the reason why I said that is, look, and I completely disagree. I don't think any Muslim should be celebrating Halloween, right? But what I'm saying is that if Islamically, if there's nothing wrong with it, then who cares if Saudi is celebrating it? We shouldn't have a problem with it.
It's not,
again, I don't agree. I understand what you're saying.
No, I get that. We're talking about from a religious perspective. So there's nothing wrong with it. I'm thinking more of a mindset perspective. Like, for example, in the Khalij, right? For the most part, people still are proud to wear a thawb with shamag and right? No matter how many other places. So there's a certain pride in that part of their culture. Shouldn't they also be in the fact that, hey, we don't do this. We have our own holidays, our own cultural events that we do that other people don't have, right? That's you chewing on the microphone.
No. That's Ali.
Okay. Okay. Anyways, but you get my point.
I get what you're saying.
So that's what I'm trying to say. The mindset, and I think that we know why that is, but I'm saying that should be something that we focus on, right?
Yeah, the AirPods, yeah.
You don't know when to mute them.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So the idea is that you want to essentially tackle that mindset and say, listen,
I agree with
you need to be proud of what you have. You don't need to adopt anybody else's culture.
Yeah. And the reason why I said that, Mort, I agree with you 100%. I think it's 2 points. It's a religious thing, which Muslims shouldn't celebrate Halloween. And I respectfully disagree with Sheikh Yasser Qadhi. And the other is the culture thing. But my thing to them is, I know many people that had a problem with Muslim countries in Saudi and the Khalij celebrating Halloween. So my thing to them was, the root of the matter is that if there's nothing Islamically wrong, which you don't believe with it, then you shouldn't have a problem with them celebrating Halloween in the first place. Why do you have a big problem with people of the Khalij celebrating Halloween if there's nothing Islamically wrong with it? Oh, because the land of the Haramain, it doesn't matter. If it's not haram, it shouldn't matter then. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I get that part.
That's where the guilt actually kicks in.
All right, let's welcome in a longtime supporter of our show, Ali, aka Maliki Click. He is now a huge celeb on Twitter with like 50,000 followers. Where'd he go? Oh no, he dropped off.
Maybe he was plugging his AirPods in or something.
He's back.
Maybe I embarrassed him by throwing dirt in his face.
Oh, really? You left because I said Ali Dawa?
No.
Can we have an awkward pause there? That wasn't a funny joke.
No, it wasn't meant to be a joke. I just said,
give him the awkward pause.
When he said Ali, I said Ali Dawa.
Oh, there he is. He's back. Boop. You're back. Assalamu alaikum. Ali, your whole intro got messed up, but welcome to the show. Assalamu alaikum. We can't hear you.
Did you mute him?
No, we heard him before.
Yeah, did you mute him?
Come on.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Ali, what's going on, brother? I don't think he can hear us.
Oh, he can't hear us yet.
No problem. We'll fix that out. Anyways, the point being is that, yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of nuances here about why it's happening and what arguments people have against it. And the reason why I was avoiding the religious one is because I understand that some people may quote a difference of opinion about whether this is something allowed to be done or not. But my thing is more, I'm always big on the mindset. Why are people doing the things they're doing?
Yeah.
Right? Because when you're attacking a problem or a perceived problem, you want to be as rigorous as you can to try to diagnose and understand the problem. right? It's easy to say that, well, hey, from the book, this is haram. Why don't you see it haram? You don't, too bad, you're jahil, whatever. Those are very simplistic ways of tackling a problem. Why are they gravitating toward this? Even if there's a doubtful matter, at the very least, why would you gravitate toward? What is it compelling you to feel that you need to partake in or have this in your land? I think that's where my mind was going with
that's
this.
very true. I agree with you 100%.
So a bit of a background on how this whole thing is being implemented in Saudi Arabia is it's being called Costume Day now. So it's some of my friends in the Holy Land, their school was doing Costume Day, and they held their kids back from going and attending the celebration. But the overall initiative is part of this thing called Riyadh Seasons. So the surrounding cities across Saudi Arabia, they have like Jeddah Seasons, etc., right? So every city has its own season. So there's these events that happen all across Riyadh that are just events that you ask for permission to be part of. And what happened?
No, but I want to check a stream with him because he couldn't hear you either. So that's okay.
Yeah.
Seasons,
So basically these seasons are little events that are happening across the city, and you use your app to ask for permission to enter the season or the event or whatever's happening, whether it's a concert or whatever it is. And then you automatically get there's like a short window, like I think it's minutes you have to wait, and then you get permission to be part of that event. And then you're part of the event, right? So a lot of these in parks and infrastructures have been upgraded over the past few years to accommodate for this new initiative that the government has planned all across the kingdom.
So I'm trying to understand. So this is more of people who want to partake in it, they have to sign up for it. So it's not like something open to the public then?
It happens in designated areas, is what I've been told.
Okay, so the idea is that they don't want to essentially, so basically it's for people who want to engage in it and they know exactly where the location is. It's not being made to the public for everyone to jump in.
Walaikum
Walaikum
salam.
salam.
Can you hear you?
I'll give it a try.
No?
Can you hear us?
No, he's gone. He can't hear us.
Oh, something other. I don't know. Make sure the mic is muted from our side.
But even before the show, we were talking about the flip side to this, right? Is we have a lot of people from other faiths that they're very, very proud of their faith. They don't celebrate what we celebrate, and we don't expect them to. We don't even want them to, like, give us recognition because of what we do. You know what I'm saying? And there's many people, even that I know, that are at work that belong to the Hindu faith, and they talk about everything very proudly, about their own religion and their celebrations. And we have Muslims, I know Muslims personally, who celebrate, even though they don't really have to, but they want to feel accommodating to the people that they're responsible for at work, and they celebrate other religious holidays for them and dress up specifically for them. And it's a sad state that Muslims, we're in a situation where we're okay with congratulating and being a part of a polytheist, essentially, celebration, and we don't bat an eye. We don't really think that anything's wrong with that, right?
I think we've become numb to it, right?
Very numb.
Well, it's like, because we're this minority and we have this desire to fit in and not have the public eye on us, that we just want to fit in. We don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
And I think, to be fair, other communities have not been as scrutinized.
That's very
as
true.
We have.
That's very true.
So the desire and the anxiety of having to be different is different.
It is very different. I agree.
Right? Because even though there's we know that right now there's a huge rise of radical Hindutva, like Hinduism, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And people still oftentimes associate this idea of nirvana and self-peace, all the stuff with Hinduism. And so they haven't gotten that eye yet, so that you can feel comfortable speaking about, my God, we celebrate this holiday because my God took an axe and slaughtered this God that day, right? And that's totally fine. But if you're a Muslim and God forbid we had some kind of pagan thing like that, you'd be like, oh wow, what a violent religion. Oh, maybe that's where you get the violence from, right? You see what I'm trying to say? Like the fear is different.
It's very different.
Welcome to the show, Maliki.
Hey, assalamu alaikum, fellas. What's going on?
How you doing?
Salam.
What's going on, bro? How you doing?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Good,
Alhamdulillah. What's on your mind, brother?
I mean, subhanAllah, one of the things I want to point out is I did a video of this whole thing in Riyadh, and it got it's up to 4.5 million views within 2 days.
MashaAllah.
And one thing that I want to point out too, it seems like I had to do another video that clarifies because a lot of people were blaming Saudi Arabia and the Muslims in Saudi Arabia. And I'm saying this only happened with a group of 200 people. By all means, 200 people celebrating a holiday doesn't constitute the whole country of Saudi Arabia celebrating. And when I looked at I woke up the first morning and I was like, oh my God, 1.6 million views. What's going on? And I looked at the comments and I see a lot of people, oh, this is Saudi Arabia. Oh, look at the Saudis. They've done it again. And I'm saying there's two things. First of all, Saudi Arabians are just like everybody else. Yeah. They have addiction problems. They struggle with their deen. They struggle with salah. They're like everybody else. But what I don't like is when people put them on this pedestal where they think that they are the representatives of Islam and that's it, and not anybody else, not Pakistan, not Africa, not anywhere else. And they put Saudi Arabians to such a high expectation that not even you can live up to. So why do you expect them to be this high expectation when you don't live up to it yourself? I just think that's pretty unfair.
That's a great point.
No, I agree. I think it's also there's also a difference of perception here. When Muslims see Saudi Arabia, they see this land of Islam and the birthplace of Islam. And Saudis, because of the post Jamal Abdel Nasser era, we're just the citizens of a country, right? Meaning that we don't necessarily have to be perfect, right? Because we are just like everybody else, our interests first, right? There's a whole idea of countries. And to be fair, they're not unique to this. They were probably one of the last to join this, right? Many other countries had far more hyper-nationalism and all these things before they did. A lot of times people say, oh, for example, when it came to Israel and these things, Saudi Arabia was not the first country that got involved with this from a Muslim perspective. There were many other nations way beforehand that had much more cozier relationships with Israel, including border security and information and spying in places like Jordan and Egypt. This is no doubt about this, right? So the idea but I think people, what they need to do is separate the emotion from the argument. I understand emotionally you're upset because that's the Bilad al-Haramain. But logically speaking, they are humans just like me and you, right? We have other places. I mean, you're this, mashallah, you may be a religious person, but look at your own kids. No matter how much religion you put in them, you don't control what's going to happen to them. Correct. There's a choice at some level individuals will make, and those choices are impacted by their understanding, by their pressures, by their own weakness in Iman or strength in Iman. All of that is at play here at a population.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, Maliki, about that?
No, I just wanted to, just kind of showcase that expectation that everybody has of Saudi Arabia. And let's face it, I mean, there's problems in every country, even in our own countries and even in our own families that we have. But we always like to point the finger at the Saudi Arabians. I guess that's all I wanted to say.
But I think a lot of people, at least from my own interactions, and because I've messaged a few people that I know that live there, and they said that the government is making it a lot more easier for people to access this fahisha. A lot of the subsidies have gone away. A lot of the things that would help the average Saudi. So girls are now forcing themselves into the workplace. They're forced to kind of get out there and find someone to meet, a boy to meet, to get married, hopefully marriage, right? Not dating or anything, but a lot of these things are being very on a government level. Don't mistake it as just it's completely, Saudis are just like everyone else. They are, yes, you guys are right to that extent, but there is a government push towards this too. They want to feel like Saudi Arabia is more appealing to the West, so that the investments come, so that people are feeling comfortable coming there for tourism or any other kind of entertainment. Other celebrities and entertainers, whether it's a rapper or any kind of musician, is coming there to feel like they're comfortable. They're like, oh, you know what, Saudis are great. There was a great Russell Peters bit about how he went to Saudi Arabia and the Saudis all loved him, and and this has been going on for a while, and I think it's been accelerated by MBS because he has this vision of Saudi Arabia not just being not just relying on its industry of the religious industry, but is branching out to entertainment industries as well, and overall tourism. That's why the whole Neon project and revamping or irrigating much of the deserts around Saudi Arabia and making green. There's all these projects that are planned specifically to not be dependent solely on oil, because the oil is running out, and it's a badly guarded secret that the oil is running out, and they don't project more than 20 years, I think.
But lucky for them, they just found metric tons of gold in Saudi Arabia, so that's another avenue that they found. Alhamdulillah. But I see what Sim is saying. That look, to be honest, whether MBS is accelerating or not, I think what all he did was just remove the veil. That there's a population of young people that actually live this way. They just spend their money outside and they're living here and they're doing it. And what he said is that, you know what, if you do that, it's bad for economics and it's bad for the culture of a society. Why? Because look, then you create a culture of hypocrisy, right? In one place, you're dressing a certain way, you're acting a certain way, and then you leave that country, and the minute you go out, it's a whole different person, right? So I think from an economic perspective and from a political perspective, he's doing the right thing, right?
No, but
from a religious perspective, obviously it's the wrong thing, right? But the idea is, economically wise, they're spending millions of dollars overseas, right? Going to Dubai. No one, there's no doubt that when they come to the Khalij, Saudis have the most money. It's no secret, right? And when they go to places like Monaco, Paris, Barcelona, Dubai, Kuwait, Manama, even just their neighboring country, Manama survives on Saudi tourism, right? Because of the thing they could do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of money comes. Manama was a playground for them because it wasn't the kingdom, right? So a lot of things would happen. So what I'm saying, though, is that he's realizing that there's people who do this anyways, right? And I really, truly feel that these things are a reflection of of a certain segment of the people, the young people.
No, more. It's a little bit more than that. From my own discussions with Saudis, there has been an easing of things like drug usage. Drug usage is getting widespread. Prostitution is getting widespread. Foreign women are advertising themselves in apps. There's a whole lot of things that were like unheard of that restrictions have eased.
So I'll tell you, it's unheard of to you.
I'll
tell you. I'm telling you right now, because I know people I speak to regularly there, and they would show me tweets like this is going back 5 years ago, where women were advertising themselves on Twitter, and guys, they would show this is where guys would go to get it. When I went there, I went to an underground place with him, right, where it was like, because at that time they banned the shishas in the public, and that entire underground public community where people were there doing this stuff. The problem is they had this. Like I even came across a guy who was a Sadiq. You know what Sadiq is? A guy who brought arak in his bathtub. You go into his house in the apartment.
I thought Sadiq means trusted one.
No, I know, but that's why. What it was is that Sadiq means like a companion, friend, of course, right? Friend. Yeah. But in that context, was you go to his house and he was like brewing arak, like booze, alcohol in his bathtub, and you would just get it from him, and he was your friend. He got it to you, right? And there was I know people, close people we know whose uncles are like drunks, and they have regular supply of booze. And what I'm saying is that to the people who did not know the kingdom, or people who are minded, who are not Saudi citizens, right? Who always were, because at one time, these people, keep in mind, the life of a Saudi and the life of a person living in Saudi Arabia who's non-Saudi is very different from each other.
Everyone knows that there was a black market in Saudi Arabia. I'm not disputing what your friends in Saudi Arabia are saying. Yeah. What I'm saying is that when the government eases the restrictions on that, they stop penalizing people
He's
for
saying the stigma
engaging.
is being taken away more and more.
So
I understand
not
that,
the stigma, the relaxation of the laws. Before, when you get caught, you could get in deep trouble for engaging in drug use. It's one of the strictest drug
Just
laws
don't
in the
get caught.
country.
Yeah, just don't get caught. Yeah.
Now it's far more easier, and there's just far less repercussion. You would have to be doing it ridiculously openly and flaunting it, in effect.
So my thing is this, is that, yeah, of course they're relaxing. Why? Because these people feared that law before, and they were running out of the country and doing it in foreign countries.
Yeah.
These people were leaving the country, right? They were going out and they were choosing to settle in other countries. When your population is 30 and under, almost like 70% of your population is 30 and under, if they can't live the life that they want to live, either A, they're going to spend their money outside, or they're going to leave outside. They're going to live outside the country.
Yeah.
Right? And so for them, this is why I say it's a reflection of a younger population that was educated, interacted with, and picked up customs and bad habits from the Western world.
Yeah.
It's simply or whatever culture was exported through media or movies or social media. This is a reflection of them. Because trust me, there were many liberals during the time of Malik Abdullah, Malik Fahad, who wanted crazy things like this. They wanted it, but they were such a small population that they ignored it. Whatever. Go travel outside, do your thing. Right? But now it's like the youth that are like they who are acting on this, for them, I think the choice is this. Either we relax it or we're going to lose them. We're going to lose the money, and we're going to lose them as a workforce. We're going to be completely, totally reliant on foreign workers, people non-Saudis, and we're going to lose our talent for Saudis to settle in other countries. And long-term wise for a country, that's a horrible outlook. When you're losing your main asset, and then you're losing your potential asset for tax revenue and income and economies. It's just, for them economically, it's purely economical the way I see it. Like, it's not like, I would maintain that the majority of Saudis probably don't behave this way.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
they don't.
Majority of them don't.
Even like the cannabis dispensaries that are like opening up in Riyadh and like that new project and stuff like that, obviously is going to ease a lot of different type of drug use, but also the use of cannabis, right? Which is becoming very prevalent now in Saudi Arabia, right? Like we can't think that if the whole world is acting this way that Saudi is going to be sheltered from this. They're not going to be sheltered for the various reasons that you mentioned, right? It's inevitable that all this stuff is going to happen. It was happening on the lowdown, but now it's becoming more and more widely accepted.
Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, I do understand where people who are talking to Sim, where they come from, because they expect a Muslim government to be firm in that.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the letdown is, right? But again, conceptualize this. This is not a Muslim government.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Muslim majority nation. It's a person who has political ambitions, a country like every other country that has its own ambitions. And if certain Islamic values align with that, they will have no problem with it. But the minute they do, they don't have a problem tossing it to the side.
No, I disagree with that idea, because I think they advertise themselves as the custodian of the two holy mosques, the implementers of Sharia, and
But
all
don't
this.
they need to say that for the Muslim world?
No, but
Aren't they
they
kind of
are.
It doesn't
satisfying
matter.
the Muslim world?
Yeah, they're speaking from both sides of their mouth. They're telling one audience, their Muslim audience, hey, we're the caretakers of Mecca and Medina.
But they are,
And
though.
then to the West, yeah, they are. In effect, they are. But they're telling everyone one thing. Like the West, they're
No,
like,
but
hey,
how
you
is
guys.
how is that a flexing of authority? If I'm saying I'm Khadim al-Haramain, all it means is that I'm the one who can't caretaking. It doesn't mean I'm perfect.
No, but it's not that. Let's be
Bro,
more
you
specific.
literally have the Shahada on your flag. How are you not
I mean,
saying
that's-
that you're a Muslim government?
That's symbolic. But what I'm saying is
Yeah,
this.
they're a fake government too.
Yeah, but I'm saying Saddam Hussein also called for. I mean, look, don't forget, dude. It doesn't the fact that the culture underlying there is Islam. There's no doubt about this.
Yeah.
The culture is underlying Islam. Every Muslim place you go to is going to say, for example, Pakistan will say, we are the constitution that has this is Sharia as the board, as the district, right? People will say, because it's naturally the culture. But I don't think if anyone truly and honestly believed they were claiming to be the Khalifas and like this like embodiment of the Muslim world, I think you were truly delusional if you believe that. No, they never once came out and said, listen, you have to follow what we do. Right? Some of the scholars came out and said, we are from the land of Tawheed, which in turn means that they had the Jama and madrasas and the origin of Islam, which is true. But I don't think the leaders, I don't think Malik Abdullah or MBS comes out and says, hey, follow our versions of Islam, be like us. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that was a part of the political agenda.
Bro,
There are scholars
they're the largest exporter of their their version of Islam. Their Salafi Islam is the one that's exported the most. They have dedicated publications that are funding. If you are a new Muslim right now and you message the Saudi government to send you books, they will send you all their books for free.
Yeah.
So how are you going to say that you're not like?
So because that's a wakaf that they do, for example, and if you go to any country, right? I mean, they separate. Understand what I'm trying to say? The culture is Islam, right? And they have an affinity towards it. But the problem is, like any other place, they won't let that supersede their political ambitions. So while they say, hey, sending books to the convert, it doesn't conflict our agenda. It doesn't stop the kingdom from progressing. Do it. And there's a special relationship between the scholars and the ruling family. So when the scholars say we need to have these, they keep them happy. Oh, look, we're making da'wah. Well, this is how we give nasiha. This is the advice we're giving. We don't agree with everything, but this is how we're going to remind the people. Right? And so for them, it's a separation of the two. So they're not saying because we publish books, you have that now we're the authority on religion as a government. They're saying no, our scholars have the right opinion, and scholars have also condemned some of the stuff they do, but they don't mix the two. There's no overlap, but they don't represent the same thing. That's my point. But the ambitions of the Saudi government and its rulership are way different than the ambitions and the goals of the scholarship that publishes these books that are in charge of these da'wahs and the markazes. They're entirely different objectives. Do you see my point? It's hard to say that they're going to completely just give up talking about Islam when it's every Muslim country, majority country, has it embedded as the bedrock of their society. You can't just be done away with it, right? I mean, it doesn't work.
Saudi Arabia has.
It has its own uniqueness. Saudi Arabia is very unique from most countries.
They see themselves as the leader of the Muslim world. They see themselves as the ones who will.
I think they pride themselves that they are responsible for Hajj and Umrah, and everyone needs them for Hajj and Umrah. But I don't know if they expect everyone to be like them. But everybody understands though that Saudi is very different than everybody else. Everybody naturally understands that. All Muslims understand that.
How many countries look to Saudi Arabia for the moon sighting?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, but
so I mean, how like it's the home to being Makkah. It doesn't matter what you call yourself, whether it's Saudi or anything. Let's just say Egypt took over Mecca and Medina. They would be the inheritors of the religion. They would be the ones who would lead the way forward for Muslims and which direction Muslims should take. Well, I don't even see how this is a discussion.
So I think the moon sighting is an exception. Why? Because Hajj starts what happens in Saudi Arabia. It doesn't start when you see the moon in Pakistan or other places, right? So naturally, because the calendar starts from this area, from the Hijrah, it's not so much that, oh, we're the authority, nobody else can cite it, but look to us because we're the leaders. No, it has to do with the geographic position it's in. It inherited that because it's the land where all this started, right? And the traditions happen in this land, right? But aside from the moon, nobody looks to Saudi Arabia to see what they're doing, except for people who are maybe of a Salafi persuasion as far as the ulama. But as far as the government, the only people that look up to them as an authority figure are the other Khalij countries.
Bro, if you lived in Saudi and you saw how the folk, the normal folk behave and their attitude about Islam, it is as if they are the people who inherited the truth, and they're the ones who will propagate truth to the rest of the world. Their interpretation of Islam. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I don't see that. I meet normal people in Jeddah or other places. They're just like every other person. They never hold out a chip on their shoulder.
Oh no, I'm not saying they hold a chip on. They're the ones. They're saying that their interpretation of Islam is the best. It's the most correct opinion, and that is the opinion that everyone else in the world should follow.
Based on the scholarship. If I go to DIWALI, I'm going to say the same thing about them. I mean, this is about again, this comes down from scholarship, not the government.
No, but one thing, just to be fair, I think that was like that in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But do you think it's still like that?
No, but even then,
I'm just going by what my parents told me when we lived there. So
I think it was like that. I don't think it's like that anymore.
I'm saying is that no, it probably still is like that. He's probably right. Meaning in terms of the people who take da'wah from the shuyukh who say, listen, this
but that's everywhere, like you said.
But my point, I'm saying is to say that it's the directive from the government to say that is a different thing. That would say qualify the statement that they believe that this is like they're the authority. The government is telling you to say this, right? No, this is the opinions of shuyukh that were there. You have other people who are outside the kingdom who are from that persuasion. They also say, look the shuyukh from this area. Look for other people who are outside who have the same methodology. But that much about methodology and their ideas, their usul. I don't think this directive comes down from MBS who says, hey, Ali Sheikh, go and tell the world that we produce the version of Islam they have to follow. I don't think MBS even cares about that.
But I think what Sim is saying is I don't think they directly say it, but it's more acted, right?
No,
like sometimes you don't have to say
funded,
it.
Sheikh. It's funded. How do you think Salafism came to Indonesia, or Malaysia? Like this brand of Islamic thinking came because there was a government backing. They funded it. They brought in scholars or kids from every region of the world, including the United States.
Yeah.
They funded many of these students to come and learn because they wanted their version of thinking of Islamic interpretation to be spread all across the world.
I would say it's not about them wanting it to be all. What I'm saying is that for them, that's the religion they know. For example, Egypt, Al-Azhar is in part funded by the Egyptian government. So do we say Egypt is now funding like the Muslim Brotherhood? Or
nowhere near, they're nowhere near, not even close to how much Saudi Arabia does.
Because Saudi has more money. Yes. I'm saying the institution of Al-Azhar is funded by the government.
Yeah, but they're not bringing in kids from all over the world.
They do. Amr went there.
Yeah, but Amr was funded by the Egyptian government.
But I'm saying his tuition was
paid.
They don't have the money. But
I could have been if I was on a stipend, but
exactly. You can go sit in the Jama, you can go sit in these collective housings and live there. What I'm saying is that every government does this because they have to support the version of Islam that's in their country because they see that as a parallel of society. Saudi is no different. If Saudi had Sufism as the main body of the ulama were there, they would be promoting the same thing for Sufism.
Yeah.
They would be no different. Right? It's not because they created Salafi. This is what the shuyukh there believed in, and their relationship to their culture, and it's intertwined. So when they want to do things for their country, and they want to also have a religious benefit, because at a core of it, Islam is intertwined with the culture. So if you cannot not fund that, that's part of their social welfare. Just like it's part of Egyptian social welfare to fund in part Al-Azhar. Right? Just like Indonesia funds its own madarises over there. Just like Pakistan partly funds its own madarises.
Okay, let me just take a little bit of a detour here. Still related to this. When MBS started like jailing a lot of these scholars and because of the reputation they may have had or what they said in the past, and how does that tie in to? Is that just because MBS was trying to be okay with a certain type of branch of Salafis being popular and
the branch who doesn't criticize the government?
That's all it came down to, right?
Yeah, that doesn't have any ideas that are conflicting with what his
because we heard about hundreds of scholars going to jail.
Yeah,
and all that
anyone
kind of stuff.
who's outspoken against his programs, his initiatives, which direction he wants the country to. It could even be indirect. It may not have. Most of them, 99% of them, are smart enough not to say anything directly against the government, right? Those smart. They've said things indirectly where they're not even saying something about the government, but some of the policies that are happening, or discouraging people from, or just discouraging people from engaging in some of these the fahisha that's being promoted by the government.
So this is a great example. If what they were doing was pushing their narrative alone, and that was the success behind it, majority of the Salafi world, even now, people who agree to this are not madakhida. Majority of them are not. Right?
They're a very small percentage.
Exactly. Yeah. So the ones who they call murja, the ones who make irja with the scholars, they're a very small minority of the Salafis. Yeah. Very small.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is that even the type of Salafi that they have out there is not even what the kingdom wants. You see, they would rather have everyone just obey the will of Amr, not say anything bad, allow it, no problem. But this is the point I'm making, that this is something native to the country. I mean, the scholars that are there, this is how they understand Islam. Saudi has no choice but to fund these programs. What their prerogative is to fund these social welfare or whatever programs they have in their societies. And it happens that right now that this Salafi or this whatever version you want to call it is the root Islam in Saudi Arabia. I'm telling you right now, had it been that they like Muhammad Malik al-Alawi, if he was the main body and this was the main understanding of majority of Saudis in the kingdom, I guarantee you would have had a government that pushed the Mawlid, that did everything like this, and no problem.
Okay, I have a quick question. Another somewhat related, but a little bit of a detour. So I was trying to research, because there's a lot of people that don't want to talk about this because they don't want to get in trouble, and they're very heavily monitored now in Saudi. Have you guys got in touch with your contacts in Saudi, even in the scholar class, and where do they think the future of Saudi Arabia is? Do they think it's just a phase, or do they think like it's over, we're doomed type thing? This is a serious question, because
they're scared, bro. They're scared. I don't know how. Like, I'm sure there are some native Saudis who have some ties that they might not be scared of, but majority of the people I've talked to, they're worried. They're walking on eggshells everywhere.
Really?
I would agree. I mean, even the Shuyukh that I know in Saudi Arabia, they won't say it in plain words, but there's uncertainty about what the outcome is. Like, what is the end result here? You know what I mean? Like how far is it going to go?
But what's brewing within the Saud family? Like, let's say MBS. Like,
I don't know about that. I mean, by the way, there are certain members of the Saudi Saud that are very conservative.
Yes, I know.
That are very... And
so is this just an MBS phase thing, and then after...
No. And because I think the reason why is because effectively MBS has consolidated power before even becoming a king.
Yeah.
He's already guaranteed that for himself. So he's already primed the set, or like the stage for him to come as king. Meaning that there's already these programs in place, there's already the cultural shift, there's already people who have been imprisoned at the Ritz-Carlton and their money taken and they've been given a slap on the wrist. All of that has already happened. He's consolidated power, put people in place who will agree with him. So he's setting himself up for the next 50 years, while however long he lives. He's a very young person compared to the king, right? His father, he might be one of the youngest to assume throne, besides Faisal, right? I mean, he's what, 30 something right now?
Yeah, I think he's 39, 40, right?
Not even 40, he's like 30 something. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that he may be among the youngest to ascend in the last 20, 30 years. And that's a pretty, so that could be a relatively long reign for him. So I think he's done everything to solidify his power there. And I don't think that it's just a phase. But how far is he willing to go? Meaning, will it be that, hey, we got the funding that we want, we kind of projected the image of Saudi Arabia, and the money's coming in, we don't need to do anything more? Or is it truly his vision to be like completely like the West? Like, is it more of a vision that he has for the Saudi people, or is it more of an economic vision that when he reaches a certain amount of economic stability, he's like, all right, we don't need to do anything more? You know what I mean? I don't know how to answer that question. I don't know that. Yeah, it's tough. It's very tough.
Yeah, man. It's I don't know, man. When I heard about the Neom project, I think you talked about it like 4 years ago, and the amount of investments that are taking place now, and the types of investments that are taking place, it's just, I can imagine that the people living in Saudi, the majority, are pretty worried. Maybe not even the majority.
I can say the young people I talk to who are like in their 18, 19, 20, they're loving it. I mean, they're less like, because they get to do what they want to do, right? And they feel like, a mutual friend of ours, his younger brother, right? I talk to him all the time. And he's like, yeah, I know this, but trust me, he's good for the country. He's good for the country. It's always like he's good for the country.
Yeah,
right?
I've heard that before too.
Yeah, so it's not so, because for them, unfortunately, and for the majority of the world, it's not just Saudis.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, religion is taking a back seat.
Yeah.
It's not about, religion is private.
And the way it was given to them too. A lot of countries, the way Islam was given to them was in a very traumatic, treacherous, bad
so
history.
I'll give you an example. When you have a country that tells you that women can't drive because one scholar says that, hey, when a woman holds the steering wheel this way and she goes over a bump, she might damage her ovaries, right? when you have that kind of thinking.
I thought that was a rumor. Did he really say that?
No, they did. Yes, there were people who said
I thought that was parody.
No.
Okay.
They talked about this. Like I mean, the parody was there, but it came from people who used to speak about this, right? It wasn't the mainstream opinion, but point being is you had people trying to justify this stuff with this kind of idiocy, with logic, right? And people, when they grow up, they interact with the Western world. They're taught critical thinking. They're taught how to analyze things, especially with the mass availability of Islamic texts and plurality in terms of how to understand the law and all this stuff. When people have access to these things and they compare that with what you're actually advocating, right? They lose trust in scholarship.
Yeah.
They say, listen, you just wanted to control me because you thought this was the right thing to do. Right? And so they get disgusted with it.
Yeah.
And they just want to rebel. They just want to say, listen, I don't trust anything you're saying anymore. Right? Like, and so I don't know if it's a rebellion, but there's a huge disconnect between that old way and that traditional, like we have to stop before it is, before it comes, because we can project we can see it's coming in the future. That's not a good enough reason for them anymore. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But let me just say, I was thinking about this. It's kind of ironic to me though, because people used to make fun of Saudi Arabia back when, for example, I remember, we'd go visit family, and when they got a satellite, they had to cement it in a location, like in one way, because you couldn't be pointing towards Europe because the channels that would come were bad. Right, you could only get the Saudi KSA 1 and KSA 2. Right, that was the only things you get, or whatever comes from the east. Right, but the thing is that, and they would check if your satellite was cemented or not. Right, so people started putting them in buckets so they could just rotate it. You know what I mean? But anyways, the point being was that the idea was this though, that they worried about the fact that they're going to be influenced by this. Right,
they did.
But check this out, full circle, subhanallah. We're now worried about how the media is making your children pro-LGBTQ. Pro-trans friendly, pro-abortion rights, pro-feminism, emasculation of men, right? And it's almost like I told you so moment, right? You thought it was extreme, but we told you it's coming, right? And now even to the point where it even impacted them, where like now they have to bend the knee and say, listen, people need to have it.
How long before leftist ideas, like they're against power, the
that's already there. That's already there.
Yeah, but how long before? Because they're opening their doors and their channels and their entertainment avenues before these ideas start affecting their youth. Where it's not, I'm not saying it's coming from Islam, but because they're going to bring in their LGBT type of values and stuff, and they start infecting each other, and start, bringing or fermenting opposition to the monarchy.
So it already happened boots on the ground. It's already having boots on the ground, but on the ruling class, I think it's right around the corner, man.
Yeah, because eventually this is going to bite their hand. They think they're opening up ways and avenues for, people to be entertained and be pacified.
Let us have a pride parade in KSA, then we'll know you're real.
No, I mean, he's right. You know why?
That's what they'll say.
In Germany, in Germany,
that's what they'll say to them.
Have you heard this? They have a pride Kaaba. A Kaaba that's made in the rainbow, and their plan is to, since they can't put it overseas, it's a balloon, and they want to just let it off fly and let them land in the Middle East.
Shut up.
I swear, look it up. The pride, it's like the rainbow Kaaba.
Oh wow, he's right.
Yeah.
Moore doesn't make stuff up, dude. Why would you say that?
I should have brought it up earlier. I don't know why I didn't, but you reminded me.
I don't know how you guys know all this random stuff, bro.
I just have excellent memory retention because I was a poor student, so I had to collect whatever I remembered and hold on to it. Because otherwise I would fail.
They got their own Twitter account too. Holy
Morty, what the heck, bro?
What is this, man?
I told you.
Can you put it on the
idea
screen?
is to let it go float
on the
up.
screen. We talked to Allah on a black tower in. It's a Morocco flag. I don't know what that flag is, and get a new liberal Quran. We build a Pride Mecca in Germany for LGBT pilgrimage. Join at Rainbow Mosque. See at Rainbow Mosque.
Yeah, and apparently it's supposed to be an inflatable one that they can kind of launch up into the sky like a balloon.
How many followers do these people have?
It's not that many. It's like 2,500 or 1,500.
Okay.
No, 1,100. Sorry.
But the point is that they're trying to do this. So how far is that off? Because see, here's the thing. Let's just be honest here. What's the reason why they're doing this, right? Because they want acceptance from the West to say, yes, you are civilized, right? But soon enough, what Sim is making the point is that soon it's uncivilized if you don't respect the LGBTQ narrative and agenda or trans.
What the heck? Are they doing the offer on that thing? Or is that
No, that's
the Photoshop,
they took the real Kaaba and they just
Photoshopped it.
Yeah.
We demand from hashtag Saudi Arabia to the opening of the Masjid al-Haram on Sundays for the LGBTQ community. This can't be real, bro.
I'm telling you, there's an article about it. I'm telling you, I don't know about this Twitter account.
In the liberal rainbow Islam, we pray on Sundays, not Fridays. Support our project. And get
Wait, so this might be a troll account, but if you look up the article, there's actual real.
Islamica is behind this.
No, I think it's serious. I think it's the same German crowd.
So this is the gay imam in France, I think.
Yeah. No, I think they're serious. Yeah, I don't think this is a troll account.
This is weird.
Insanity. So
Someone said the gay mom was dressing like Gandalf.
No, but I really believe that. I think that if they're really pushing this tourism narrative and they really want people to invest, it's like, hey, dude, give us a pride. We want to celebrate, a Pride Day or Pride Month. Just change the colors in your major department stores that are not in Mecca or Medina, whatever, in Riyadh. I don't see that too far fetched. Like a few years from now.
Yeah.
No, exactly. And I mean, my only hope is that they preserve the integrity of the Hijaz.
what integrity?
Meaning that whatever you're doing, it should not be allowed in the Hijaz province. Like, I think that's the best we can get now. If you want to do your concerts, you want to do all this stuff, whatever, that's your country. But the Hijaz itself, like, Mecca and Medina, that area has to be sanctified. Like, I mean, I can't imagine a scenario where they bring like a concert in the middle of like Mecca.
Dude, if you're saying that 70% of the people of KSA are under the age of 30, you said, right? The only way something's that the initial reactions of this is going to be is like another Juhayman type thing. And in mass, there's no one really going to do anything. People outside of Saudi will talk smack, and then you're going to have people that don't want to talk smack because they want to go to Umrah and Hajj, so they don't want to get blacklisted. But the other thing that I'm worried about is like another Juhayman type thing. That's the only out that Saudis have. Like, what else can they do?
I don't know if it had to be that extreme. I mean, I hope not. I hope there's another way where there's an intellectual conversation like we're having now about why these things are happening, and appeal to the rational intellect and the soul of the Muslim Ummah. Appeal to the soul, because I don't believe that these Saudis inherently are just evil people who want to bring all the wickedness in themselves, right? Allah has made the Muslims for a reason. They have the same level of capacity of iman that other people do, if not maybe more, because they're by certain holy sites and stuff. But I think the conversations about why these things are happening, and someone needs to be able to penetrate to the youth and be charismatic. And that's why I think someone like Andrew Tate, who was living this lifestyle, cars, money, flashy, and he says, wait a minute, you guys actually have something that I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there has to be a force that is not by violence, not by jihad, not by this is an intellectual battle. It's a battle of the hearts and minds. You have to convince them that what you have already inherently is superior to everything else.
Yeah.
And that, to me, and can there be a figure that does that? I think that's going to be the key moment.
No, and that's why I think I'm glad you brought up his name, is because the amount of empowerment that he's giving youth, you need a character like that. It doesn't have to be, but it's very understandable a character like Andrew Tate can make that difference, because they saw what he was before and they saw what he became. They saw everything that he had and what he flaunted and what he became. And for someone similar to,
provided that whatever the figure is actually leaves those bad habits and lives the Islamic
exactly
lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
If not, then they're going to feel validated that,
Of
look,
course.
he became Muslim, he's still doing all this stuff, right? So why can't I be Muslim?
That'd be
this stuff,
super
right?
dangerous. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are, similar as far as an outcome, but I mean,
Well, the way I see it, being the inheritors of Mecca and Medina doesn't make you immune to what the other Muslim civilizations experienced over the course of 1400 years. Every caliph that abandoned their religion or just lived in comfort was enjoying the spoils of what their predecessors set up for them. They got hit by a force, an overwhelming force that they couldn't stop, and they got steamrolled and they got wrecked.
Yeah,
they got wrecked to the point where their entire civilizations were destroyed. And you just ask the Abbasid Khalif, who got, the gold was melted off his doorknobs, and the Mongol hordes were telling him, well, if you use this gold and you sold it and bought weapons with it, maybe you would have had a chance against fighting us, while they're dropping that melted gold through his throat. No. So I don't think any good will come as a result of this. There's no, I only see this as an acceleration of the downfall of Muslims and Saudi Arabia. I'm not saying Saudi Arabia is the only place where this kind of deplorable things are happening. It's all across the Muslim world, but it's just more depressing, more sad to see the land that has the
I think it
DIWALI
hurts
mosque
more. Yeah.
experiencing this, and and we know about the hadith related to the end of time when there's going to be a quarrel among princes as to who takes over the kingdom or who takes over the leadership, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe these events are accelerating that, or coming to that point where MBS has consolidated power to such an extent that that there's a lot of people who are unhappy with him just inheriting the throne.
I think that's already there, right? There's a lot of there's a lot of turmoil there. So another question that I had is, look, man, I don't know enough about this, obviously, but I hear a lot of people talking about Pakistan and how much potential Pakistan has because of the army
ridiculous potential,
right? But
some of the youngest, brightest people I've met are from Pakistan. It's so underrated.
That's what I'm saying.
It's so unfortunate how Pakistan doesn't get the credit that it's due, because they have so much talent in that country.
I also think Afghanistan. I mean, they're in a process now where they're trying to rebuild, and a good friend of ours, Brother Muhammad Shirazi, is helping people build an economy there. They have a long way to go, but that's always a chance that a country like that can rebound and have full control of its own autonomy.
But I think Pakistan's already there. But the only problem I think people say is it's natural ties, historical ties with China and all that kind of stuff.
The problem I think that Pakistan's facing right now is that the problem is that I unfortunately don't see it happening without a bloody coup that has to remove the institutions that be over there that have deep embedded corruption at every level.
Yeah.
From the level of the local police station all the way to the military generals and at the top of the government. Like, there's has to be such a purging that, unfortunately, that kind of purging makes a nation fall into civil war.
The only one that keeps Pakistan down is Pakistan. Yeah. There's no way. They have the talent. They have all the resources.
They have the army. They have the numbers. They have the culture.
They have everything they need.
Expendable resources. They have minerals.
The problem is that they've made trade agreements that they can't, domestically create, for example, cars, right? They can't make their own cars, because they've agreed with the United States that, hey, you know what, we're not going to make cars, but you'll buy our, I don't know, corn or wheat or something, you know.
Yeah.
So they make these agreements, and it hampers their own creativity, because that's how America makes agreements with everyone around the world. Why aren't there so many? Why aren't, for example, Indian car manufacturers sending their cars over here? Or why aren't they making their own version of an operating system like Windows or Mac OS from India? Because
very capable.
Even though India has so many programmers available, right? Because they have these trade agreements where they can't export these type of technologies to other parts of the world.
Right.
Yeah, because they've made agreements that, hey, we'll take your mangoes or whatever. I'm just giving you an example. We'll take your mangoes, and we'll buy your mangoes, and we'll buy it at this amount, and you'll be compensated really well for it, but you can't make your own operating system.
I think another country that's kind of off the map people don't realize is, economically speaking, Bangladesh has been on an uptide in economics wise, especially with people going to war with China as far as manufacturing. But again, you also have to think about what kind of industry is your country thriving in, because you cannot just lead the world in textiles and labor. Right, that's all a great part for jobs and for money, but do you truly become a leader if you're just being used for labor and importing all the essentials from outside? Right, you never truly have independence. You never have the ability to do what you want to do. So again, it all depends on how and what you're bringing into your country and how it's set up, right? Because, like, for example, is a country that is like he just mentioned, like we're sending out mangoes, right? Is that really impactful to a nation as, let's say, an operating system? No, right? Because technically I can get mangoes from anywhere in the world. You can't buy this operating system anywhere in the world. What can you as a nation provide that no one else can get anywhere else? And that's one advantage that the Gulf has, right? Where right now we have oil, right? But what comes after that? What sets you apart? What makes you competitive? Obviously, it's not labor. right? Because look what's happening in China. People are opening shops in Vietnam, in Bangladesh, in other island countries, right? No problem. They can find labor anywhere else, the Philippines. So what, as a nation, if you truly want to align yourself to be a true emerging power, you have to find something that distinguishes you as an asset that they can only come to you and get. And that's, for example, what Israel does. They're the only ones who can offer Americans intelligence the way they do in that region. No one else will provide more reliably intelligence they need besides Israel. And that's how they solidified their position in the relationship with America. It's not that America really cares about Zionism. No one cares about that, bro. It's about what they benefit from.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
History lessons. Yeah. Don't listen to your children and do the Pocky one chip challenge. My son has been bothering me for mashallah. I mean, I love that he was bothering me about it. He wanted to do something with me. Oh, Pocky one chip challenge. We got to do it. It's at Walgreens. I made a mistake. I told him it's at Walgreens because Walgreens is selling it.
Oh, wow.
So
how much is one chip?
Like $5.
$7 to $7.
Yeah.
$7 for one chip?
Yeah.
To make the milk, bro.
But we all didn't eat one chip. We were wusses about it. So me, my son, who's 9 years old, and my brother-in-law.
How old is he?
I don't know, like 26, 27. Okay. And we watched the Islam Makhachev fight. And after we watched the Islam Makhachev fight, which he won, mashallah, we went to Walgreens, and I told my son, you know what? Let's do it for Islam Makhachev. So we went, and then we bought a whole bunch of ice cream and all that kind of stuff. So the mouth burn was crazy, but the chest and stomach burn was insane.
Yeah, I could just picture Sheikh going, Islam Makhachev.
I kept on telling him we're at Walgreens. I was like, you know what? Because I had to write it off. I was like, dude, let's do it for Islam Makhachev. Let's do it for Islam Makhachev.
So I heard like your insides get twisted.
Dude, your insides was, bro, all night. But the funny thing was, if I sat like this with like my hands on like my thighs like this, it wasn't as bad. It took like 50%. So I fell asleep like that. Because every time I lied down, it was hurting. Bro,
hurting like what? Burning?
Burning and like that pain, like your stomach is being corroded from the inside. Right? And I already have weak stomach walls anyway, man. You know, like I used to take Prilosec.
So like a really bad, like acid type feeling in your stomach.
Yeah.
Did you have any,
I used to have that in the past, so alhamdulillah, I dealt with it pretty well. But what I did was I was just I finished the whole Tums bottle. I was popping candy. And so what I did was I was eating 3 at a time, like every hour. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to time this. Every 5 minutes, I'm just going to have one. That's how bad it was.
Dude, honestly,
my brother-in-law was crying, dude. His eyes were all red.
I would never do. Me, I have a low.
Don't do it, bro.
No, I have a low. Are you kidding me, bro?
It's ridiculous.
Dude, that's what it looks like.
Just regular sauce from Buffalo.
It's blue. Your mouth turns all blue.
How do you pronounce it? Pecky?
Yeah, Pocky.
I saw it on TikToks. This
bro.
dad and son did it.
Do you think you could handle it, Sim?
No.
I would never eat one whole.
I know.
After I had a third of the chip, I literally broke it up in 3 parts. Me, my son, and my brother-in-law, my wife, and my daughter. They were watching, and we ate it. And within like 2 minutes, bro, and it just started climbing and climbing. But what was twice as worse? What happened when it goes down your chest and your stomach? When it was in your stomach, bro, it was vicious. It was like I thought of it as something evil, like demonic.
So I think is it the Carolina Reaper that's part of it?
Like
I think
scorpion,
so.
scorpion pepper and Carolina Reaper.
It's a bunch of
I think it's scorpion pepper.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's what it has to be the Carolina Reaper because the Carolina Reaper is the most strongest pepper in the world.
But they mix it. They make a concentration of 3 different peppers.
Yeah.
They powderize it.
And apparently there's.
Does it even taste good or no?
No, it tastes horrible.
No, apparently it's like it's chalk in your mouth. Like
Exactly.
It's really dry.
It's like powdery.
Yeah.
What's the point of that?
It's just to
because you could. I mean, if you want to have a challenge, there's sauces you could get.
People, dude, that chip company know that people were going to want to get it because they want views on YouTube, bro. That's what it was.
But the point being is, there are people from our Caucasian background that are trying this and they're being hospitalized by this.
I understood why. I was like, bro, this was really bad.
Like,
it was really bad. If I had a whole chip, I would probably have to go to the ER.
And by the way, there's videos of them actually eating the whole chip. Like,
that's when I was like, bro. So for like 3 or 4 days after that, I didn't want to eat anything spicy.
And it's funny because you see them saying, "Oh, while they're eating
it."
So wait, well, how was going to the bathroom?
I mean, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't bad as I expected it.
Really?
Yeah, it
Because
was
we,
that
remember
bad.
when we would go our thing?
Yeah,
was
no.
every- every New Year's
Oh, the
Eve,
Thai one
we
in
Thai
Yeah.
restaurant was worse.
every
Oh,
New
really?
Year's Eve
Yeah.
we would go to a Thai
Oh.
restaurant.
No, Thai
and-
restaurant, the Saza
Yeah.
was worse,
So by the way, like
Come on,
these guys have a tradition of going like every I think New Year's whatever.
Yeah.
something,
New Year's Eve, yeah.
And me, I'm totally opposed to spices. Like I don't want any spice, so I don't even bother going with these guys because I think everything that there's gonna be spicy.
More to eat French
But
fries.
it actually tastes, so the Thai restaurant actually tastes really good.
Yeah.
Pho's.
Yeah.
We call it the Pho's, right? So Pho's, it actually tastes really good. Yeah, so that's much more easy to handle.
Yeah.
But yeah, so surprisingly, Paki, on the way out, it wasn't that as bad as I expected. But it was so bad, like while I was eating it, when you get traumatized, when you eat something and it makes you throw up,
Yeah.
you don't eat it ever again.
Yeah.
I thought that's how it was me with spicy stuff, but 3 days after that, I was good, bro. I wanted to eat mirchis again, bro.
You know what I would do? I would whenever we had like pizza parties and stuff. So we would have the halal pepperoni, and I would get the super hot sauce, and I would just
That was messed
put a
up.
dab underneath the
We did that to
pepperoni.
one of our buddies at
Yeah.
a UFC party, remember? He ate it. He's like, man, this stuff is pretty spicy, bro.
Dude, I had I have such a low spice tolerance. Even jalapenos make me burn, bro.
Bro, when we were in Egypt, we went to the best sushi restaurant in Egypt. It was really good. Really good. And Mort was with us too. He doesn't like sushi. All the guys at the table all eating sushi. Mort orders white rice and beef, bro.
Chicken teriyaki. No, beef teriyaki.
Yeah, it was beef teriyaki. It was good. But bro, the sushi was really good.
Look, man.
You know when Mort started liking sushi? Once he got married?
Wait,
No, I don't like sushi. I don't eat sushi.
You talked about you when you
No,
liked
no.
eating
I had no
sushi
my
with your
first
wife.
time. No, my first time at sushi. Why I like sushi was because of my cousin's husband meet him at a place here in Oak Brook. A place here.
We don't need
where-
the whole story. Just,
Yeah. No, hold on.
no,
Wait.
tell you, he needs the whole story.
Yeah, hold on. It was. I'm like, oh, I don't eat sushi. Ew, right? Just come. I'm like, all right, fine. So he ordered me this warm kind of sushi. That's not the sushi. Sushi. That's actually like that's not like cold, right? And like whatever. And I can eat that one. But any of the cold ideas,
toasted one, yeah.
you know what? I think what on it, bro. Like you know your mouth, that taste like the
Grape leaves. You don't like grape leaves?
No, the texture of
grape
it. No.
leaves are-
Even the one with
No way.
beef in it?
oh, I love
Listen,
grape leaves.
the texture of it. No, I'm not just no.
You just pop it in your mouth, bro.
No,
You
no,
have
no,
full-
no. I'm not a fan
You know how to
of
make
that.
them? I learned how to make them, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
his Gulab Jamuns, though, bro.
Yeah.
When are you
But
gonna
so
do that
my
for us
point
again?
being is
I'll
that
make you some Gulab Jamuns.
when I like something, I like it. When I don't like it, I don't like it. Nothing will make me. I'm not gonna fall for the peer pressure. Oh, come on, man. No, bro. I know what I like. I'm gonna eat that, bro. It's simple.
Dude, honestly, the best homemade Gulab Jamuns I ever had. The stage was beautiful. We had a great barbecue at your place.
Yeah.
Your brother was barbecuing. You made these Gulab Jamuns. That stuff was off the hook. And we ate that pretty fast.
Yeah.
A few weeks later, Sim, before I come to the podcast, this was probably 2 weeks ago. He's like, hey, man, you need to pick up a package from my parents' house on the way here. Okay, I picked it up, and it's this whole thing in Nido, right?
Yeah.
And on the whole way, I'm like, bro, I'm going to make fun of this guy so much. He doesn't drink milk. He drinks powdered milk.
Yeah.
So I come to you, I'm like, bro, what the heck? You got Nido? You drink Nido? It's like, no, it's for Gulab Jamuns, bro. I was like, oh, darn it, dude. I couldn't make fun of him, bro.
Yeah, well, Gulab Jamuns is an art.
It is, bro.
Because
It was so good.
every
it was
time
like
it comes
cake,
out
bro.
different, yeah.
Because it was heavy, and I like that one. You thought it didn't come out good. It was heavy, bro.
And I like
liked
it when it's fresh and it's warm.
Yeah, bro, that's how it was.
Yeah,
The Cheeto was nice and warm, bro.
Yeah.
It was just swimming in all that Cheeto, bro. Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's like a. I don't want to say it, but I think it's ball of like pure.
No, it reminds me of Hush Puppies. Remember Hush
It's
Puppies?
orgasmic, bro. It's just like this ball of like pure sweetness and joy.
Yeah.
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 I'm glad you cleaned it up. All right. My mom's messaging saying you guys are talking like a bunch of ladies right now.
Who?
My mom.
Like the ladies. Why?
Yeah, because we
Talk about
diverted
food.
off the topic. So she's like, "Why are you guys talking like a bunch of girls?" Like,
Thank you, Auntie. Blame it on your son. He's a cook.
Okay, guys. So, any thoughts on Sadiq Khan of the UK? He started worshiping, or not worshiping, but
He put a garland.
he put that little thing, the
Garland.
flower garland.
Garland, yeah.
Yeah, he put that on a Ganesh statue.
He has to do it. There's so many people there of that faith. He has to make sure that they're happy.
Yeah, that's his
Yeah,
job.
so I
That's
think.
politics, bro.
You know-
So can we pull up the picture if you have it? By the way, and so here's the thing.
He's not an Islamic politician. He's just a politician that happens to be
So
Muslim, bro.
that's the problem.
Lower your expectations.
So the problem is this. Again, going back to what we're fundamentally talking about. what makes you feel so insecure that someone else who just became, for example, Rishi, he can demand that there's no beef at his inauguration dinner or whatever because he's proud about his beliefs, but you feel insecure.
Wait, give me some background. I'm sorry about the Rishi. So what happened?
He had a dinner, right? He became prime minister, right?
Okay.
So at the event, there's no beef.
The whole entire event.
Yeah, but there's no beef. He said,
Were there
no beef.
Muzzies going to be there too?
Huh?
Were Muzzies going to be there too?
I don't know if Muzzi's going to be there or not, but I'm saying it's his party for who he invited. Whoever invited, you know how people state dinners?
Yeah.
There's no beef. He doesn't want beef in his house, right? And because he's a Hindu, practicing Hindu. And he had no problem saying that very clearly. But yet, on the other hand, we have, mashallah, our Muslims who get into power and all of a sudden they feel embarrassed about being a Muslim, right? Like to the point where they have to feel like, hey, I'm not one of those kinds of terrorist Muslims. I can put a garland over a Hindu god. So what, right? And I just find it the irony, right? Like right now, the BJP government is demolishing masjids and building mandirs, and our governments are, shutting down Islam and building up mandirs.
Yeah, bro.
Right, and bring us to gurdwaras, right? I mean, look,
Remember that Kuwaiti thing that you shared? with us?
but what I'm saying though is that the reality is fundamentally the reason why he's doing it is because he feels insecure and he fears what people will say if he doesn't partake, if he's not plural enough.
He's not going to get the votes, bro.
Hey, you know what? And this comes down to the idea. Allah wills what he wills. Doesn't matter. You think you actually did that by yourself? Your actions got you where you are? Your actions got you your money? Your actions got you whatever it is you have in life? No. That's Allah's decree.
Tawakkul. It comes down to tawakkul. It's a tawakkul thing, man.
Do you think that you actually did it yourself?
Can we make takfir on him, Sheikh?
No. Let's see.
Sheikh, no. This is,
His accent changes.
this is not acceptable.
Actually, it is.
No, it's definitely not acceptable.
It's an act of kufr, right?
It is definitely an act of kufr. Of course it is. It's an act of promoting shirk. Can we say that he is a mushrik? No, I mean, we can't say he is a mushrik.
But in this moment, he left Islam.
In this moment, he did an act of kufr, man. I'm just going to leave
So
it
yeah,
at that.
you can say that during that action, the iman was lifted from him, and then he could put it back onto him, sure. But I'm saying that is he a kafir? No. I mean, we have to ask him and clarify his beliefs, what he believed, and did he know that? Is he jahil to it? Did he know that doing this would take him out of the fold of Islam or whatever? There's a whole problem, series of things here. But the point being is, why even do that?
Yeah, bro.
To who are you trying to appeal to? Like, just because someone, I feel like it's this idea of reciprocating. Because a Hindu came to you or a Christian came to you on Eid and wished you happy Eid, you feel the need to reciprocate that?
No, but not only that, bro. Look, when it comes down to it, like when we're honestly talking about this,
Look at this tweet. Look at this tweet. The new prime minister must not cave and surrender the human rights of trans people. Trans rights must be protected. This is Sadiq Khan. This is the people you British Muslims voted in.
Sadiq bhai.
I don't know about.
No, but look. What this comes down to, like, honestly, the reason why it's a sad state, like, in all seriousness, it's a sad state because we don't understand our deen, and you have people that are in power. And honestly, I feel really, really bad for them. Like, it's not a surprise what I'm saying. It's not a surprise because of how the world arena is working, how the political arena is working. And you have people who have a very weak understanding of Islam, and they want to come into power. And that's why I'll always ask these people that want to come to power or want to run for governor or whatever the case is, what is your end goal out of all this? What is your goal in coming into power? And the goals are very, very shallow. Oh, we just want Islam to be accepted. No, Islam's already accepted, bro. Nobody cares anymore about Islam and whatever the case is. You could practice Islam however you want.
No, which Hindu has come to our mosque and prayed?
No, and we don't want them to.
Not that we want them. We don't expect that. But
I'll respect them if they don't, if they have their principles.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't want them to, because we want them to adhere at least to their religion so they can be truthful people, right? At least that. Give them that. But we don't have those expectations.
Yeah,
but the reason why
if you want to become Muslim and pray, we would definitely accept you in that sense, but not as a performative act.
Yeah. Don't be fake and just to get votes. Then we're not going to like you. But the other thing is, look, man, like the reason why all of this is troublesome and people may think we're overreacting is somebody who's the follower of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, somebody who loves Allah. It doesn't make sense to the person who loves Allah and loves Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, loves Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than his kids and his family and the whole world. It doesn't make sense to us that somebody making that claim to do an open act of shirk. It doesn't make sense to us.
it flies in the face of everything that every prophet stood for.
Exactly. The reason why prophets were sent down
Was to destroy idol worship.
Exactly. That's why we're not overreacting.
It's
dude.
so
This
contradictory. That's why the whole left-wing ideology, which obviously I kid with the British Muslims and them voting for it. It was the leftists who actually voted for him into power. It wasn't the Muslims per se in a large part. It was mostly
He's a good prop.
left-wing people who want to use look, we have a Muslim candidate who's representing the Muslim people of the British
Token
the
politician.
British Empire, but
Yeah, token
of the
politician.
United Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
But and that's exactly what, for example, like you see some Muslims who are left-leaning, right? They're really propagating Islam or Palestine, right? They want to tell everyone about how
That's a great
Palestine.
example.
You know, Palestine is of course, you know, a people. Palestinians are people who are oppressed, but where are they operating from? They're not operating because of Islam is commanding them to fight for their Palestinian Muslim brothers and sisters. No, they're fighting from the left-wing perspective of being against hierarchy and oppression and things like that. They're those leftist values. I'm not saying every one of those values is bad. Some of those are noble values.
It's a great point. In which they're operating through.
But they're from a different lens. It's not the Islamic lens.
It's nationalistic in many senses.
Nationalistic. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean,
sad,
look,
bro.
But our people will prop up those journalists, those internet personalities who are, bringing light to the Palestinian plight.
And it shows you how
Hateful
how
today.
weak. No, and it shows you how weak Muslims are. Is that we're looking for any little scrap for our initiatives to.
But this is the problem, right? Where instead of saying Allah will give the land to who He chooses, since what we're doing now, since the Islamic plight was not enough to get other non-Muslims involved, let's change the strategy and make it mean for everybody.
Yeah.
It's for the Christian, it's for the atheist, for the gay, for the Jew, for anybody. No problem. Right? Because that's more appealing. Again, it's about appealing, feeling inferior. Well, when someone asks them, what are you calling for? They feel inferior to say that this is a Muslim land. It's our holy site.
Yeah.
They feel the inferiority in saying that. For example, when someone asks me, why don't you have you want to have mosque in America? Why don't you have churches in Saudi Arabia in next to the Kaaba? I'm like simply saying because it's our sanctuary. It's not allowed.
Yeah.
Simple. We don't operate from the same framework. Your constitution is based on the fact that you can allow plurality of religion in your area. You don't make any preference to religion. That's not where we operate from, right? In these specific areas, it's not allowed, and I have no problem saying that.
Of course.
And that's why I say that, when people really get heavy about this issue, about Palestine, I say, listen, at the end of the day, Allah will give it to whom He chooses. 100 years is nothing. We've seen time periods where it changed between hands. And listen, right now they have the power. Tomorrow Allah can take that power and give it back to the Muslims. Yeah. And there's nothing. And believe me, and I tell these Muslims, when you have that upper hand, are you really going to tell me that you want to have all these people come and have those things over there? Is that really what you think we're gonna do with the haram? Yeah. Really? No, it doesn't work that way.
One of these types of people is a journalist by the name of Sana Saeed, who works for AJ Plus.
Not related to me.
Yeah, Sheikh Amar's non-cousin, not her cousin, not your cousin.
Yeah.
Same
or
tribe,
your wife.
Same tribe,
or cousin.
Different people.
Yeah.
Who said not?
Not, yes.
Anyway, she first tweeted out, Muhammad Hijab, Hakikachu, Zaytunas Abdullah bin Hamid Ali, etc., care more about their views, engagement, and brand than they care about the impact they've had and are having on the faith of Muslim women. Their followers have made them into glistening golden calves. Shameful. Shameful.
It's the patriarchy.
Glistening golden calves. We were just talking about Harun and Musa.
Yeah.
She's talking about the golden calves too.
Yeah, she is.
Sheikh, you've been gone again, and
You've been gone
the Shabab started making golden calves.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shabab.
that's what she's complaining to you about. No, not she. She's complaining about the Shabab.
Yeah.
Have made their golden calves.
Yeah.
Shameful. So our brother Robert, he's Vadi Minar up here, is not a fan of one of those three. You know which one? I guess he's talking about Hakikachu. And my opinion on Andrew Tate's conversion is somewhere in the middle. However, both the Mad Mamluks and myself stated we are open to hearing opposing views on our channels if you or anyone else are willing to come on. Now, Robert, he's extended an olive branch, on behalf of, because he heard us last week,
good dude,
talking about, wanting to hear opposing views. And we didn't specifically invite her. I want to make it clear to you, Sana Saeed, that we would not come to you hat in hand asking for your face to be on our show.
I would leave the show if you did that.
No, but so she wrote, nah, not interested in helping create content for you. You hurt, not help our communities. Good luck. Sana Saeed,
you know what?
are a vile woman. We, first of all, you wouldn't help create any content for us, nor would you increase any of our views, because no one really knows you.
Darn it, now they do.
No one knows you. They don't. People are just pretending to nod their head, but no one knows her. She does what a piece for AJ Plus once every 6 months, and she thinks she's not even a piece. I don't even know the last time she wrote an article. But
the point being, though, is that
she's barely a celebrity.
No, but honestly, even at the end of the whole rant, I imagine in my head her saying, "Can I speak to your manager?" Like a total Karen moment, right? Like, how dare they do that? I want to speak to your manager. I want to speak to your manager. You know what I mean? Like, okay, Karen, calm down, right, Miss Karima? No, relax, right? You only get so excited. No one's inviting you on the show. The reality here is, honestly,
hang on. There's something here.
Oh, there's more. But wait, there's more.
There was there was something here. I got a notification. Wait, someone liked. No, it was just she showed up here. Oh, what's this? Naved Aziz, you liked her post? Naved Aziz, he's just a Canadian Muslim scholar.
Oh,
you little
the
turncoat.
Compassionate Imam.
Are you sure it's not Nabil Aziz?
No. He's probably Nabil's cousin. This guy looks like a Mongol, man.
Anyways,
no.
This guy, the audacity of this guy. Hang on, do you know about this guy?
Yes.
No.
Naved Aziz, he's invited by these people who are, like countering violent extremism type people, who want people to educate the crowd about the terrorism, the fundamentalism in the Muslim communities. This is the guy who goes and speaks on our behalf over there.
Yeah.
This guy's sitting up on his high horse, fighting for women's rights, while talking crap about his own Muslim brothers to all these non-Muslims.
Look, bottom line is, bro, I could care less about these pink-haired woke
scumbag.
These pink-haired woke Muslims. Who cares, right? Look, to be honest, you only exist on the online spaces. I can guarantee you, most of these people don't have any real engagement with the community around them. Very little. Right? Very little. They're very loud on Twitter. People like them. They probably follow them, whatever, because they want to feel like, oh, there's a Muslim in the media. But no one truly cares about their opinion, right? It's just, whatever it is. So your impact means nothing. I can't remember the last time that you put out something, or I don't even read your stuff. I don't even know what she puts out, but there's nothing where I personally, I don't know if I could be wrong here, but it actually was like a Muslim was like, wow, she really represented me as a Muslim in America, right? This is also a pseudo, like, it's just like a projection of what they actually want to happen, but it doesn't really happen. It's not like an accurate cross-section of Muslims. And I really believe this. Most people who write for these liberal news sources, they are far from the accurate cross-section of actual Muslim beliefs. Like, they're usually pushing a narrative. The narrative that all these imams are part of the patriarchy. Oh my God, they're shoving this way. Oh my God, we can't do Halloween. Oh my God, we can't do this. Everything to be outraged about something. The Karen, the super Karima moment, right? Where everything needs to be, championed. Everything needs to be spoken about. You have to be outraged by everything. You have to be compassionate about everything. And the reality is that we don't feel that way. Look, if you don't like Andrew Tate, you don't like all these people, don't listen to them. I don't like you. I don't listen to you. I don't even know what you put out there, right? And the funny part is it's not just her. Recently I found out through a WhatsApp group that there's many of these kinds of pink-haired Muslims that type all this stuff about the Mad Mamluks. I don't even know who they are. They don't even exist in my realm. Why? Because I don't read their stuff. I don't like them. I don't have anything to do with them. Apparently they're academics and progressives and people who speak about Muslim issues in front of non-Muslim audiences. They mean nothing to me. you don't provide any value to the community as a whole. You provide value to yourself. That's what you do. You validate your own self feelings by speaking to people who can't call you out in your BS. And this is why I mentioned it, because you had an opportunity to come set someone like me straight and show me where we're wrong. But instead of doing that, you chose to just turn around and not have a conversation, because it's easier for the woke Muslimah and the woke blue pill Muslim guy, whatever he is, the compassionate imam guy, to not have to answer the hard questions and just shove them off and say, these are just people who are harming us. They're not benefiting us. They're harming. Oh, they're harming everybody. You know, oh, alert face. They're harming everybody, right? And the whole point is that this is not the actual conversation, right? We're here to have a conversation. I can be respectful as long as you're respectful to me. And when people like this type this stuff and they say, oh, why don't you give them the same amount of time and respect? Are they giving us respect? When someone gives an invitation to you to come on and speak, we don't disrespect. I don't call people all kinds of names unless I feel like they have that energy to me, right? Even now, I won't use bad language to them or speak about her appearance or her personal problems. I don't do that, right? No, because I think it's disingenuous, right? We're here to talk about the ideas. What about these people do you have an issue with? What are the issues, not the individuals? What are the issues that you have a problem with? Let's talk about those issues. And if you are against the issue, then bring constructive criticism, which includes ayat from the Quran and a hadith or something that we can validate against your claims, right? Bring something that we can say, okay, you know what? You're right, sister. You know, for example, there was a sister online. I made a tweet against some woman who was, because I found out about these recent tweets against us. So I made a tweet and I was actually incorrect about the information. I told, even though I don't agree with her views, she said, hey, relax, chill. She's not talking about this. I said, I reread it and I said, you know what? Thank you. Jazakallah khair. I'm gonna delete that tweet. I didn't say, oh, doesn't matter. This is what she probably believes. I'm not like that. If I made a mistake or if there's something genuinely wrong in our view, I'll be happy to adopt your position. But you have to be willing to bring constructive criticism, and you have to be willing to have that conversation, because it's easier to say somebody is wrong without having to provide an alternative. Much easier to do that.
Got to bring evidence if we're wrong, for sure, man.
Sheikh, any final thoughts about Brother Tate? Brother Andrew X?
No, I'm kind of sick of talking about that. This is me personally.
I mean, you never talked about it. That's the whole
No, I mean like all the talk that's about it. I don't care to talk about it.
You don't care to talk about it, yeah. Did you wish the brother goodness?
Of course. If he became
Are you glad that he became Muslim?
I'm glad he became Muslim.
Okay.
I'm glad if anyone becomes Muslim, man. That's
You're not making dua against him, are you?
Astaghfirullah, bro. Anybody, bro. Look,
I don't know. I thought maybe
even if our enemy, if somebody was our enemy, they become Muslim. They're a part of they're our blood, bro. That's
well. I thought maybe your wife might make you be mad, you know, because you know sometimes people, you know, some men follow the wives. Sometimes I thought maybe you're being compassionate, you know, but it's okay. If you had to do that.
Wait, what was that supposed to mean? I don't get it.
He's a nice guy, you know. I thought maybe you could, because you know some people, I know of people whose wives are extremely upset that they're talking about Andrew Tate, right? Even just mentioning him.
No, my missus purely knows who that is, bro.
You know, so the problem is, I thought maybe you're forced into doing this. You know, make dua against them. You know, okay. You know,
yeah,
no. Okay, no, but you know, I think here's the reality. Let me just to make this one point, okay, and we'll wrap this one up with this. If
nice.
No, listen. If the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam can accept a person like Wahshi, who killed his uncle, his beloved uncle, Asadullah, the lion of Islam,
of course,
and took out his heart and gave it to him to eat it.
Yeah.
Take a bite out of it. And if the Prophet can accept both of them to be Muslim,
of course,
I can guarantee you that what Andrew Tate said about you and that hurt your feelings is nothing compared to that.
Yeah, of course not.
And for you to say someone shouldn't be or is not qualified to be a Muslim means that you are unhappy with the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah, that's
when Allah wills something,
yeah.
Exactly, that's the whole point. We are in submission. When Allah wills something, you accept that decree.
Yeah, and if anything, it should increase your iman that somebody that you believe is so wretched can actually come to the light of Islam. That should actually increase your iman in Allah, that someone's so wretched. Look, why would Rasulullah make dua for the two of the Amrs, Amr ibn Hisham and Umar radiallahu an, right? He actually made dua that they become Muslim. Umar radiallahu an was on his way with his unsheathed sword to assassinate Rasulullah, right? That stuff doesn't make any sense. It's all woke culture and, you know, stupid tribalness, and it's ridiculous, bro.
Folks, that's our show for this evening. Thank you for joining us. Help us out on patreon.com//the Mad Mamluks. Also, make sure you click on the old like button. Give us your comments in the comment section below related to the show. You came this far in the show. If you're still listening, it's not much to ask. Just put something there.
Put a like.
Put a old
Put a
like.
thumbs up.
Sometimes you can say nice things about us too. Sometimes the Shabab always want to, they want us to improve. They want us to get better, but it's just sometimes a little bit too critical, Yesha.
I
I don't care. Put a thumbs down.
I love the way he used the word shabab, bro.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't mind. Put a thumbs down, put a hate comment. I don't care. Put something, right? You like it, you hate it. Put something, and better yet, make use of the StreamYard link that we're putting out there now. A lot of you guys get vocal in the chat. Don't be afraid. Speak your mind. Come speak to us. We're gonna start putting this link regularly, so be prepared. If you have something that's on your mind, even unrelated to what we're speaking about in the moment, join in, share your views. Just have a good topic in mind, right? A good, comment, whatever. We don't want to just, jump on and be like, hey, how you doing today?
Yeah.
That's not going to help us, right? I'm sure you guys are smart individuals. I like to think that most of our listeners are smart.
You can even if you want to drop in and say hi or something, but just have something, prepared to say. If you have something going on that you need some guidance with, hey, help me understand this problem.
Yeah.
I can't reconcile this part of Islam with my aql or my mind or my heart or whatever. Just talk to us about that. We'll be happy to help you out. This is meant to be an open forum. We usually just keep on talking until
time runs out.
Yeah, time runs out. But usually, if you guys want to ask your questions, we can change the train tracks and
more than happy to,
help you guys out in any way. And that's part of the Wednesday night experience. Anyway, we'll see y'all next time. Assalamu alaikum.